Did you know that 72% of millennials, when asked about their new position, found that either some aspect of the position was a surprise or they actually regretted taking the job? That's according to Harvard Business Review. Most applicants find the job interview process a one-way scenario. When you're talking to either HR, the hiring manager, or the project team, they tend to have one-way interviews. An interview where they're checking on your skills, experience, and capabilities. But rarely do you get the chance to reverse interview. Ask them the questions to make sure you know what the job really is all about and you know if it's right for you. We're going to go through reverse interviewing today on ProjectSkillsMentor.com. Well, hi, I'm Liz, the Project Skills Mentor, and I'm all about helping you be better at whatever you want to do, including getting a new job. And if you're thinking about joining the job market and you're thinking about the area of project management, a space I tend to talk a lot about, you'll know that PMI says that there's going to be 22 million new positions in project management around the world between now and 2027. That's a lot of jobs, a lot of scope for getting either the right job or the wrong one. So learning how to reverse interview during an interview process will help you make sure you don't make a mistake. Reverse interviewing can be tricky, but it is important, and it also can show your prospective manager that you are a leader, that you're already thinking ahead of what success looks like. It can pop you to the top of the list of candidates. So first of all, compensation. This is something often never discussed until they actually offer you the job. But this gives you little information to negotiate. Finding out what that compensation package generally looks like for the job you're interviewing for is very important. Ask about a couple of things. One is the compensation. What's the total package? So you might have a base, which is your monthly pay. You might have a bonus, which is something happening annually or quarterly. And you might have perks like a car, stock options, or something else. Be aware of the concept of job families. Especially in large companies, this is a way that HR manages a group of roles so that natural progression in those roles, otherwise known as promotions, can be managed. So one of the things you want to know is what job family are you in and where are you hiring in at? So for instance, in project management, you might be a junior project manager, a senior project manager, and then a program director or something like that. And if you're coming in at a junior project manager, first of all, you need to figure out if that's a right move for you based on past roles you've had and past positions you've had, but also how fast you can move through those levels. What kind of experience do you need? What kind of expectations do they have? So finding out what the job families are, something about the pay ranges. Now, you'll never get top range normally in those pay ranges, but at least you'll know the median is a reasonable number. And then also, how fast do they promote people through those ranges historically? It's not a crazy question. They may not answer it, but that already tells you something, right? Next, know the expectations and how you're going to be measured. If you're talking to the hiring manager or the project team, ask them what a day in the life looks like for the team or in the position you're hiring into. Get specific. Try to figure out from this day in the life how much authority you have, how much responsibility you have, and whether those two things map together. If you have a lot of responsibility and no authority, that probably is a job that's just waiting to have a problem. Likewise, define leadership. If you are coming in as some kind of leader, team lead, or project manager, make sure that your view of what leadership and leadership authority looks like is equal to that of the hiring manager, but more importantly, the project executive. And confirm how your performance is measured. Often compensation is tied to these performance measurements, so you're really going to want to understand who, how often, and how you're going to get those performance reviews. And the third point, make sure your team is set up for success. That's true if you're an individual contributor, a team lead, or a manager, especially if you're the project manager. Make sure you understand where the project is in its timeline, how it's going so far, and how you can modify it or adjust things as needed when you come in. If nothing's available for you to modify, if it's all set in stone, you want to know that, because if you don't think it's exactly going well or the process is incorrect, you won't have the authority to change it. Find that out going in. Another thing I've done that's really saved me from taking bad jobs is meeting the team, asking to meet the team. Now, if the answer is no, that's saying something right there. But if you can meet the team, you don't need to ask really delving, difficult questions or something that will pierce data privacy and protection. Just getting the vibe, the better you'll be able to assess whether this is a good job for you or not. And to know whether the company culture is one that supports a happy, successful, high-performing team from the team members they've got. So now you know about reverse interviewing. But the question is, how do you actually do it in the moment? Well, step one could be when you're getting your interview meetings set up, ask for an extra 15 minutes so that you can ask some questions as well. Let them know this in advance so that the expectation is set. And if they wonder what kind of questions, give them a little bit of an idea. If you're in the interviewing moment and a point comes up that actually relates to a question you have, it's more natural to bring it up then. So if they're talking about the way of working, you can say, "Can you tell me more about a day in the life for my position?" That is a natural moment to have that conversation versus splitting it off from a list of questions later. So if you can, make it a natural conversation. Always be respectful. You are not trying to catch somebody out. You are not trying to make them fumble over decisions or embarrass them in some way. So be tactful in your questions. Be prepared. If you can Google it or find it on the company website, don't ask that question unless it has a knock-on question that wasn't answered on the website or Google. And if you're unsure about an answer that you've received when you've asked a question, reframe the question or ask them to summarize again. Either one of these works, but saying nothing when you didn't understand does not work. If someone asks me a question and I answer it, and I can see the look on their faces that they didn't understand my answer, but they say nothing, that already gives me, as an interviewer, a concern about their ability to execute work and be honest when they don't understand something. And if someone says, "I can't answer that, but so-and-so can," ask if you can talk to that person or ask if you can email them your question. And finally, you need to know who to ask. You're not going to ask about job families to the executive. Ask that of HR. And if you want to know about day in the life, ask your hiring manager or the executive. I hope you found this information helpful. If you did, consider giving this video a like, subscribing, and sharing it with someone else. And if you're ready to join the job market and you want to have a killer CV, check out this video. And I'll see you next time on ProjectSkillsMentor.com. Bye-bye, everybody.